Okay, good afternoon and welcome to the Philadelphia SMPTE chapter and Sony for today's webinar on Sony's Ci cloud-based collaboration platform. Here, using Sony Ci, users can create free personal accounts for themselves to try out the base feature set. They can share media with others on something that Sony calls media boxes. Broadcast houses, production houses, television stations, schools and universities, and other large entities can create what's called an enterprise level account, leveraging more capabilities in the Ci platform. Users can edit, they can review, they can approve, they can log, search media files, just about anything you can do in a standard editor you can do in Sony Ci. Videos can be uploaded from your personal devices for collaborative work or for approvals. Media can be scrubbed collaboratively, allowing multiple people to work on the same media file at the same time. Media is stored in the cloud and can be transcoded and downloaded when needed to a user's device. People can also share, like I said before, with media boxes and give password restrictions to them and timing. Media is all stored in the cloud and can be transcoded and downloaded when needed to a user's device. Files from different workspaces can be searched. Users can have a personal workspace and a corporate workspace or multiple workspaces and share media between the different workspaces. Security for Sony Ci is ISO certified with end-to-end encryption. Sony Ci integrates with multiple existing platforms, including Premiere Pro, Microsoft Azure, Active Directory, Aspira, and Snapstream. With that being said, I'm going to turn this over to Michael Potts, the Senior Director of Customer Service and Customer Success and Services for Sony. So, Michael, it's all yours.
Great. Thanks, Mark. Appreciate it. Thanks, everyone, for joining today. I am going to start out. I'm going to turn off my camera here for a second to save bandwidth. I'm going to start out by sharing a deck, but I am going to go through this deck fairly quickly. Let me just confirm that you all can...
Yep, I see it.
You see it? Okay, cool. So let me go ahead and get that in the presentation. Great. And is that presenting for you okay?
Looks good.
Okay, cool. So my name is Michael Potts. I'm the Senior Director of Customer Success and Services at Sony Ci. So we are Sony's media cloud platform. Actually, Mark's summary was fantastic. It was a really good synopsis of a lot of the things that we offer and do. I'm going to go into a little bit more detail at a high level with you. Then I'm going to jump right into showing you functionality. We don't need to, bore anyone with a PowerPoint deck. Let's get into actually looking at what some of the things that we do and offer and how they work and how you can leverage this in your workflows. And by the way, I don't know the formality of how you all usually handle these sessions. I have no issue whatsoever with anyone chiming in and asking questions throughout the walkthrough. We've got, the better part of 50 minutes left right now to kind of go through and show you functionality. I can do an awful lot in that amount of time, and I can answer a lot of questions in that amount of time. So please feel free to chime in, ask questions, view this as being interactive.
And the Q&A session is open before you move forward here. It will be anywhere from a 50 to 25 second delay when you put something in the Q&A section, but we will answer them.
Okay. All right, great. That's good to know. So yeah, so if I move on to something else and there's a question that comes up, let me know, and then I can stop where I was going and go back and make sure we hit back on that. Cool. So some of the high level things that, just to kind of digest is, where we've come to in media has really evolved. I'd say especially over the last 3 to 4 years. Where we were 6, 7 years ago was a very different climate and environment, and things have really changed. The workflows have multiplied, timelines have shrunk. You see much more organic growth of content. In the current situation that we're dealing with right now, we absolutely are seeing massive amounts of content being originated in ways and means that maybe were being done before by volume they were, because someone would say cell phone footage is okay, but it's not the best. I'd rather stick to a pro camera. When in fact, right now, if you can get the content any which way you can, it all works right now, right? I mean, we're going to take everything we can. One of the things, though, that I think has really, been a bit of a problem for the industry out there in general when it comes to media management is you often have content coming in from many different places and then being stored in many different places, which makes it very, very hard to manage it, to organize it, and to also reuse that investment you've made in that content. This is why we built Ci. We speak to many different aspects of the content lifecycle, whether it's upstream production, post-production, working on the creative side of how you, pre-plan before production begins, or you're doing, you're taking content as it rolls in from whatever sources in a news and broadcast standpoint or sports standpoint, and you're leveraging that in whatever creative way you can. You've got the concept of wanting to archive and remember and preserve that content for as long as you possibly can in fully redundant, fully scalable manner. This is what we offer. You have things like reviewing for post-production, production needs, dailies needs, but you also have legal and compliance out there, and they have to have, a visibility into the content and be able to kind of pitch into their, the commentary around, what can be used and how it can be used. And then you have social media and digital platforms, and all these things have really progressed over the years, where the line between which you generate that content and the availability of that content to get out there for consumption of the content is very, very tight now. There is a timeline that's very near real time, and in many cases real time. So a lot of these things have really improved and progressed over the years. So some of the things that we offer is the ability for you to have a central repository of all content that you can search, view, download, share that content out, have analytics for knowing what's going on with that content, the ability to live collaborate with that, with our video review and our live sessions, our image review, the ability to take in live streams and do live logging of those live streams while that log data maintains historically and becomes a captured file at the end of a stream. Mark mentioned about security. When you looked at the conversation we would have with folks 6 years ago, oftentimes the first thing that would come to mind in the initial dialogue when cloud was mentioned was, how are you set up security-wise? How do I know that that content's not going to be lost? How do I know that it's encrypted? So we do everything. Everything we do is encryption at transfer, at rest. Security is paramount for us. We are ISO 27001 certified and compliant. We also go through our own internal Sony audits. So we have another layer of audit that we go through on a very regular basis that holds us to a very high level. So we take all those things extremely seriously. We are a platform. You see here, we mentioned about REST APIs. We offer APIs for a lot of the functionality and capability that we offer in our UI. That we have available in our APIs, including uploading, downloading, sharing capabilities. And one of our newer products that we're going to be rolling out in the next couple of months, our product is also fully API enabled. Our catalog product, that is, sorry. We do also support some new AI that includes things like automated transcription, object recognition. So things like that, where we're progressing into an area where we know that metadata can be very challenging sometimes to look at from a manual standpoint, and we want to facilitate that in as automated as a fashion that's intelligent around that said metadata as possible. We offer custom transcoding. We also offer subclipping and NLE integration. I'm going to hit on some of these as we go through the actual demonstration. And also, we mentioned accelerated file transfer. We offer integration with Aspera. We also now offer export to target to Aspera and export to target to Amazon S3 as a storage bucket location, which also integrates with Signia. So you can see here that we have mechanisms by which content can come into Ci. We have our cameras that can upload directly to Ci. We have the ability for you to upload content yourself within our Ci UI. You can upload with our APIs. You can also use our file request feature that allows you to create a link and allow someone else to contribute that content from an external source without having to be in the managed view. We allow you to share content out. That's our media boxes that Mark alluded to earlier. I'm going to show you some of this functionality in a few minutes. We allow you to collaborate, and you can do that detailed collaboration with our video review and our live session capabilities. And then you can take, the depth of knowledge when you're live logging or logging content at event-based type things with rich metadata for searchable, for searchability, and also for subclipping, even in search results. These things feed into compliance and review, QA, QC, and then also the ability for live logging of that content, so that when you've got special events or sporting events or broadcast events, you've got an ability to be able to watch that content, log special things, make that available to other folks within your workspace, and actually be able to allow them to also subclip that out, such as being able to then make that available to publish out to social media. Archive. So we support archive at a standard archive level as well as a deep archive. One of the great things about archive and the way we approach it is that we make available all of the preview proxies, ability to do review and collaboration, all still available even while a source file has been archived. Search. We know that sometimes when you have massive amounts of data in the petabytes to hundreds of terabytes and larger than that, then you need to be able to find content and find it in an easy to use manner. That's why we've invested.
Is now joining.
Oh, got a little bit of a overlap there. Someone joined the call. Welcome. So search is very important. We empower a lot of things in search, such as fastening down search results, but also the ability when you find search results that are in fact log entry media log sessions, you can actually subclip from that search result. So, as I mentioned before, we are a media cloud platform. We are Sony's media cloud platform. It is really important to us that people recognize that they can automate workflows. They can integrate, they can automate upload and download. They can do transcoding, automated transcoding, special transcoding, customized to spec input, output that they need in their workflows, that they can generate and not have to use local resources for those things, not have to spend resources when it comes to man-hour time or machine time local. You can now do all of that within our environment, including custom transcoding, closed caption extraction, all kinds of leveraging of different thumbnails and some of the other AI components I mentioned earlier. And this is a really big element. I think when we look at production workflows, one of the things that we entered into the market 6 years ago was the ability that for some Sony cameras to be able to upload content directly from the camera into C. So we've really matured that story over time. And as you'll see, when you look at a current workflow here, where you've got a captured set of content, you've got the ability to then drop that onto a hard drive, put that onto a machine, maybe have to ship that hard drive someplace else while editorial begins to work with it or not yet work with it. And now you might be copying that to local storage, to LTO, transcoding it to an editorial format that you're going to work with, move that to editorial storage, begin editorial. It's a lot of steps in that workflow and a lot of time being consumed in that workflow. When you look at when C enables that workflow, you've got capture the camera, you've got the ability to upload that content directly to C to be stored so that that content's readily available, whether you're pulling it off the card or you're automatically uploading proxy right from C or right to C. You can transcode said input out to whatever your editorial format's going to be, and you can then begin to pull that down on-prem for editorial storage, use cloud-based workstations with it for editorial workflows, and you're now getting a jump start in that editorial. Whether you're working with a proxy or whether you're converting that proxy to an editorial format you're going to work with and then relink with your high-res later on, you have all those options at your disposal now. And so, one of the things you see here is the benefits. You're eliminating file transfer services by leveraging us because we're offering those services already to you combined with our product and our applications. You're limiting transcode time. You're getting daily view into content in a much faster way than ever before. and you're getting that editorial and that review to feed into editorial happening as fast as possible. All right, so I'm going to switch gears now over here to, let me stop sharing there, move back over to my browser. All right, can you all see my screen?
Yes, we can see it.
Excellent. So what you're looking at here is a dashboard. I've logged into C, into my account. I've got at my disposal in this dashboard a bunch of what we call pinned team workspaces. So a team workspace is like a top-level way in which you want to manage your content. You have the ability to have that team workspace available for anybody who is intended to be a trusted member of your team. So in other words, if you want people to be uploading, downloading, managing the content, then they're appropriate to be members of that team. They're trusted. You want them to be doing those features and functions. If you want them to be sharing content out, if you want to have other people contributing content, or you need to get visibility to the content, well, that means that not everybody needs to be in the team. They rather can use feature functionality to make that content available to them. And I'm going to segue to another new product we're going to be offering in the next couple of months called Catalog that does allow folder-based permissions and roles as well with curated or production-based content. So I'll segue to that in a little bit later. So in the workspaces, this is your top-level way to manage your content. A workspace could align to a project, a title, a season, or an episode, or whatever it is that you want to be, driving as the determiner of that generation of content and how you want to be managing it and going through a review cycle and collaboration and editorial workflows. It could also be parts of a workflow. So up in production versus the ability for you to actually be, working with editorial, moving over to marketing, getting promos and trailers ready for release schedules. All these kinds of things can be parts of the workflow and thus different team workspaces accordingly. Okay, I'm going to jump into one now. So here in this team workspace, I've got a folder file view. I've got the ability to do a variety of things once I'm in here. I can move content around. I can create new folders. You'll notice that a lot of times you'll see a blue highlight here, and that's really intended to kind of catch your eye. It's intended to help drive the fact that there is something there for you to do. So call to action, if you will. In this situation, add new is going to help answer one of the basic questions people often have, which is, Michael, how do I get content into here? How do I start my workflow by generating content into C and now getting eyes on that content? So here I've got the ability to upload with the standard web browser upload. Alternatively, I can upload a batch of files with Aspera Connect. Now, this use of Aspera, if you are familiar with it, we auto-scale all the Aspera nodes in our own environment. That includes the ability to go up to speeds that are as high as 2 to 3 gigabit per second per node. And if we saturate on those nodes and we spin up new ones on the fly, that is all part of the service. We do not add on a cost for that. It's just part of something we offer. You can also upload folders with Aspera. So that will allow you to upload a folder, its content, subfolder structure, and all of its contents. It's a very powerful tool. You want to upload card contents, easy to use this to do that. You want to upload even larger content than that, or you might not even realize what you are picking to upload because you've just selected a top level folder and a SAN, and you now decided to upload that content. You might be uploading 10 terabytes and not even realize it. So there's a lot of power behind how that folder upload can work and function. And it's going to replicate that folder structure within C. One of the really great things that we offer is what we call a file request. So one of the things that this does is makes it easy for outside contribution content. So in this case, due by, let's say, 5 p.m. on Friday. So what I'm doing here is I am creating a link, if you will. I'm going to denote that I wanted to go to a certain folder, and I'm going to put an expiration on this link. So I either could do presets, custom, which I'm going to do, or I could even pick never, because this link has a dual purpose. I'll show you that in a moment. So I'm going to go ahead and set my date to be this Friday, tomorrow. Wow, the week has really gone by, hasn't it? Now I've set the date to be 5 p.m. Pacific time tomorrow. And I actually want to notify some of my other team members when this content comes in that I want them to be aware that this is something that we need to kick off a workflow with. So I also have some additional settings here that I have available. One of them is I might really want the folks that I'm giving this link to understand that I want them to actually use Aspera. It's not just an option. I would rather them use Aspera than not, because I know that the content they're uploading is a good, 50 to 250 gigs worth of content. Last thing I need for them to do is have a break in their web browser session. Now have to start all over again, which is what a standard upload with a web browser does. In this situation, Aspera allows you to pause and resume. If I've got a break in connectivity, I can just go ahead and resume that connection. I've got a token that allows me to resume that within a week's time, and thus I've got a really nice capability to, not be in an odd situation where, I'm under deadline and, I had a break in my internet, but gosh, now I've got to, that already resumed and I'm back to where I was before and not lost much of any time at all. I do have some other options where I can restrict the number of files being uploaded. I can also restrict the different types of files being allowed to be uploaded. So video, image, audio, other such as documents and things like captions and other types of files like that. Okay, so you have those as options. So I'm going to go ahead. Well, one more thing we can do here is we can request metadata. So we support and see a variety of what we call custom metadata. In this situation, I'm going to fill out a contributor form, and I'm going to say that I would like this to be a specific location that I believe the content was shot in. I believe that this is accurate, so I'm going to actually make it read-only. I'm also going to turn off the ability to use a metadata model template, which I'll come back to in a moment. And I'm going to say date of shoot. So I believe this content was shot maybe the other day. So 2020, I say 05/11/2020. And I'm going to make that an optional field. But I'm going to give the recipient of this request when they're uploading content the option now to change that if they need to. And so they can go ahead and change that to be something that's more accurate if in fact I have that mistaken. We also have what is called a metadata model template structure. This allows us across workspaces to apply a predefined set of metadata. So those could be things such as the term library lookup. So in this case, I am actually doing an artist lookup, and it's querying across based on data that I've been provided by my customer on a nightly basis as an optional field. I also have fields that are multi-selects. I can also do drop downs. I can also do drop downs with dependency relationships. So if I wanted to have a drop down, then I have another set of drop downs spin off from that and another set spin off from that. I can do all of those things. So I'm intelligently guiding the fill out of the metadata. All right. So I'm going to actually turn off that metadata form, make it nice and simple, create the file request. Here I've got my link, open that up in a new tab. Now I also get another element that we offer, which is branding. So we offer branding at what we call the company network level, which can be inherited down to the team workspaces that we talked about before. You also can override that at the team workspace. So you can have your own logo, your own banner color here, your own background, and you'll notice that Aspera is highlighted. So I'm going to select a file to upload, go find that said file, and open that up. It says that there's some metadata I need to apply. I also need to put in my email address. So it's asking that to help better identify myself since this is not a logged in link. And I see the metadata was supplied. Oh, that's actually not correct. That shoot was actually yesterday. So I'm going to contribute that file now. And now that content's going to make its way up to C. Now, while that's happening, you'll notice in here that it says new contents come in. So I'm going to go ahead, close out of that. And I'm going to go to that incoming content folder. And you're going to see that that file is now coming in right away. And that file also while it's still uploading, I am not the uploader per se. I am for the demo purpose, but let's say I'm not. I'm getting status on the upload real time. I know how much time is left, what kind of speed it's coming in as. If I select that file and I look at the custom metadata, you'll see that that custom metadata has already come in, is indexed, and is already searchable, even though the content has not made its whole way in yet. So this is some advanced, capabilities that we have to allow that flow of that content in right away. Now I can search for that content, know that it's on its way, and that means that I'm going to be able to kick off a workload very shortly. So what happens after that content comes in off of an upload? Well, I'm going to go click on a file that I'd uploaded earlier and click on that file. And what you'll see is a preview playback. And I've got over here a variety of preview proxies that were generated at ingest. I've got thumbnails. I've got 3 flavors of standard proxies at 270p, 360p, and a 540p. I've also got a 720p at 3 megabit, a 1080p at 6 megabit, and a 1080p plus at 8.5 megabit. And these are premium proxies that are an add-on cost, basically per minute cost on the renders of those proxies of basically 2 cents per minute. Okay. I have the ability to have a black background, a transparent if I'm not really sure where the content might be, because I've got, I might have letterboxing or something like that going on. I've got the start time code as an overlay. I have all that. I also have keyboard shortcuts. I also have the ability here to do something such as smart clipping that we offer. So in the beginning of the call, I heard you guys talk a little bit about YouTube offering some editorial capabilities. Well, this smart clipping we offer here allows us to mark in out. I maybe want to modify this to have kind of a new name. Actually, I think the name's going to modify. I have some options here though too. So that incoming file was a XTCam 35, 25 frame rate, and there's one of a couple things I'm thinking I might want to do with this clip. That's a European shot piece of footage, so I might want to convert that to XTCam 50 5994. So maybe I want to use that converted format to work with as a new clip. So I'm going to transcode to XTCam 50 5994. It's going to do a frame rate conversion, and I'm very happy about that output because that's what I'm going to edit in. Alternatively, I might want to go ahead and do a same as source MXF clip. So what this is going to do versus the transcode is this is going to allow for me to put then maybe a handle on here of a second or two. And I can save this as a new element tied to the source file. Still going to go through proxy generation, thumbnails, all that kind of good stuff. So it has that, all those materials if you ever need them. Or I can save this as a brand new asset, as a brand new file. I'm going to copy over that metadata, by the way, that came from that file request. So I'm gonna tie that even to my brand new clip because I believe that metadata is applicable to that clip that I'm making as well. And I'm going to output that to a different location. So I could put this into a different workspace that I have access to, that I want someone else to see the trimmed out clip that I've made. Oh, and by the way, this is not a transcode. This is actually a trim clip that I'm doing that's going to literally output by trimming out from the original source file. So not transcoding at all. There's no transcode going on. There's no heavy lifting when it comes to that. It literally is ripping out the pieces of identical quality, identical audio channel configuration, source quality, so on and so forth. So I'm doing this with a 1920 by 1080. If I had XAVC that I brought in Ultra HD and 4K, it will clip that as well. So all of that is possible within this. This will support an XT-CAM, XAVC, and AVC codecs. So you have a lot of flexibility in that. And again, and the nice thing about this is since it's not transcoding and using up X amount of compute power to be able to do these things, there's no additional cost for the same as source MXF trim. It's just going to generate a brand new file as if it had been uploaded itself for just those in-out marks. Now, another thing that we do here that's really nice is you see these in-outs, the 10, 11, and 10, 13. Well, I did add a second onto each, so that's going to be represented when you see the clip. But alternatively, we're also going to keep a relationship of that output clip to the source file. So now when I go back into the workspace here and I navigate back up to the workspace root, you'll see that file that's actually rendering out that trim clip. And if I click on that file, you'll notice that over here, it identifies where the source file is or what source file there is. And actually it's a link to it. So you can go right to the source file. Here's your mark in time code. Here's your mark out. And again, notice it was 10:11 before and 10:13. Tacked on a session before, or a second before, a second after. Now that's the appropriate mark in out time code. It's now going to begin to treat that as if it was an uploaded piece of content. It's going to generate thumbnails, preview proxies, interrogate the technical metadata, supply that same technical metadata as if you saw in the source file, and all that will be represented over here, okay? So what do you do with content once it's come in? There's a number of things you can do. Trimming that content like you just saw or smart coding it is one thing you can do. And sometimes that's really great because the amount of content you might have uploaded could really be varied, right? You could have someone who left the camera on for an hour. You could have somebody who's shooting, a clip every, 2 minutes or so, or even, 15, 30 seconds when you're just trying to get some content pulled together very quickly. So, that content rolling in could be one of many different things. So trimming that content down with a clip can save you a lot of time of pulling down only that content you want, sharing only that content you want to share out, and you being the determiner of that and curating that content to share out. So sharing content out is a very popular feature in C. So here I'll take a few files, share them out with what we call our media boxes. So here I can put in a write-up here and say, share this content to the Sony team. And now I'm going to make that link. Wow, I can type today. I have a few options here when it comes to access control. I can make a public link, and it can be very easily shared out. The problem with that, it is easily shared out, but anybody could view it. Protected will apply a password that you generate, or we generate one for you. And that same password is used by everyone who accesses the content. So you send one link out to everybody, and you set a separate email out with the password. And then secure is anyone in this named list. So I might want to put in my colleagues again that I had earlier, and I only want them to be able to see this content. Oh my goodness. Okay. And now only they can access that content. They also need to be a registered user of C. So in C, we do support, as Mark mentioned earlier, a single sign-on. We support that with Okta, Azure AD, and ADFS. So that means that if you want to share content out to somebody, you want to invite someone into a team workspace or into a secure work session for video review, image review, media log, then you can do all those things. And they don't have to do anything other than put in their normal credentials that they usually log in with. Heck, they might already be logged in through those environments, and it will just let them in right away. Alternatively, if they are an external audience and they do not have, the kind of employee login and, access control that or credentials that you would normally have in your own corporate environment, then they would just need to create their own account on the fly. We'll prompt them to create their username and password, and they get into the media box. They don't go into a workspace. They don't go into any other place. By default, we normally default to preview only. I can turn on the ability for the source file to be downloadable. I alternatively can turn on the ability for the proxies to also be available. And that includes all of them, or maybe only just one of them. I can also make any of my custom transcodes available or remove them and only make maybe one of them available. So those are available as well. I can also apply a visual watermark. So for added security, I have the ability to, here's my file name, here's who might be viewing it, on what date, and by what IP address. I can move that around, and this is available for video and images for preview only. For images, we do allow a burned-in watermark, and for video, we will be allowing a burned-in watermark in the next 2 to 3 months. Okay, so very robust features. You can even customize the text. Right, so put in whoever you want with even names if you want them to. When we do offer the burned in watermark for video, it will allow to even go down when you're doing a secure media box to the logged in username that would appear when they get the burned in proxy to download. Okay. I'm going to save that. I'm actually going to turn that off for now. I'm going to turn on the abilities that I had earlier for downloadability, and I'm going to go ahead and create this media box. Open that up. Now I get a similar playback experience to what you saw before. So here's my content. And I have the ability to get that content back. I've got different options. If I had made this a preview only, it would switch over to adaptive. So on most of our playback, we're going to default to adaptive, where it's going to sniff your connectivity and deliver back only that which matches your bandwidth. That's the reason we generate those multiple proxies, okay? You'll see it's got the time code overlay like you saw earlier. And of course, you can always scrub along the line here in a frame accurate fashion. You can go back 3 seconds, ahead 3 seconds, control the volume, control playback. You can also do playback with controls such as KL, frame by frame by frame, KJ, frame by frame by frame, or L, and fast forward. Okay, so lots of playback experience there. You'll see that I've only got that SD Plus available to download. I also have the download for the source file available, and those downloads are available with Aspera as well. You alternatively can also save those to another workspace. So if you happen to have access to other workspaces, so let's say you're working with somebody who has, worked with many different customers, they are a freelancer, they might have different workspaces that they have access to be able to save that content. Okay. By the way, I'm still the owner of the media box here. There's another layer of visibility here that's really incredible and powerful, which is knowing what's been done with the content when it's happened. So in this situation, I chose to go back and manage that media box that I had set up. So it's going to take me back to the settings view and let me go in and modify any of those settings that I might want to. Add new content, change some of the structure, change the people that I want to have visibility of the content. So that's now going to go ahead and render here. So here's my setup that I have. I apologize, the Teams here is a little bit causing a little bit of a latency here. So I'm going to exit out of that. I don't really want to make change there, but I do want to look at this particular media box I made, expand my view over here navigationally, and you'll see that I've created this media box. I have opened it. I've also watched over 95% of this content right now. So we denote for you how much percentage of that content somebody's watched. So that can come in very, very handy when you're looking at an analytic by which you need to know that content got from point A to point B, and more importantly, you got eyes on that content that they need to be looking at that content because you've got a deadline and you need the feedback from them. So that's a very important metric and data point that you can leverage in your workflows. Okay. Now, you don't have to only do curated content in Media Box. You'll notice over here that some of these folders over here have a blue box on them. So that blue box denotes the fact that that folder and subsequently its subfolder structure is also shared in a Media Box. So you can see here, camera uploads is shared. If I open up that Media Box, I'm going to get a very similar navigational tree to when I was in the workspace, but I'm not. I'm shared a Media Box. I don't have access to the workspace, but I do see that content is coming in off these different cameras, and I've got the ability to go look at that content as it comes in, off of Z750 or off of 450, and now I've got that content to look at and be able to do something with that content, such as view it or download it. And as new content comes in, I'll also be able to see that new content automatically synced. Apologies. Got a little frog there. Okay, so that's media boxes. Now I'm going to switch gears over to another set of features that are very popular on a product, and allows for collaboration at a very detailed level. And by the way, here's my clip I generated. Here's a few pieces of content, and I'm going to open them up into a video review session. So video review allows me to do frame accurate playback, commenting, annotation. So in here, I've got my clip and I'm going to switch over to this one. It's a little bit more colorful. Play this back, pause it, like that frame. Hop over here to another frame. I can drag along the film strip by scrubbing. I can go over here and select a tool, select a color, highlight that. Okay, and keep playing. Pause again, change tool, change color, maybe change how thick that lining is on it. Make another comment. Okay, there's my comment. So why am I taking the time to show you some of this? Well, these comments actually are more than just comments within this particular session right now. Oh, and by the way, I can jump the frame. I can jump the time code. I can, change from timestamp to time code. And I can also export these as, and I'm just going to refresh my session here. Hold on one second. Sometimes this happens with the video conferencing software where it kind of conflicts with all of these. There we go. These are actually comment markers. They're exportable out to be able to import into an NLE. They can also be exported as a PDF, and the PDF is going to be branded with your branding like we talked about earlier, but it's also going to have, sorry about that, that's my bad. I went to the wrong clip there. Here we go. You'll have the branding. You'll have the ability to see the annotations I've done, the like. If in fact someone else had come into the session later on and made a comment there as well, they could reply to my comments whenever they wanted to. I'm going to do that right now, actually. I'm going to go ahead and invite some other folks in. I'm going to make it an active session. I'm going to make a due date, go to my distribution list, invite a whole bunch of people in to come in and collaborate with me. Now, they can come in whenever they want. They don't have to come in while I'm in there right now. We don't have to be in there at the same time. They can come in, look at the comments I've made across the different clips. Other products in the market will only let you annotate and review by clip. And they tie those annotations and comments only to that clip, and they don't allow you to make additional comments and annotations with a clip multiple times. They'll only let you do it one time and save that forever. We allow you with our work session model here to work with many different clips and allow you to have that clip be part of many different work sessions. So it doesn't have to be just part of one. Why is that so great? Because when you're doing review of content, such as dailies, you might want to look at 50 clips, and then you might have editorial that comes back with a version of those clips put together in some output, and you might still want to look back at those clips along with the new editorial output and compare those things in unique work sessions as you go through and iterate in your review process. Okay, so I have all that capability and functionality in our work session management. Likewise, I can also open up what's called a live session. So let's say, for example, we're on a con call like we are right here, and we aren't viewing each other's screen in Teams. Rather, we are just listening to each other, and we're on a web browser session right here. So you're looking at this local, and I'm going to go ahead, and I'm also going to try and add in Mark in here. Let me see if I can add you in here as well, Mark. There you are. So I can put Mark in there. Done. He's invited in. So Mark's going to get an invitation. He'll be able to go into the work session. The people that I've invited out of that distro list can also go into the work session for video review. They can respond, reply to me whenever they want to. If they happen to be in there at the same time that I've started my live session, what this will let me do is control the playback. A little bit of a lag here. Try that one more time. Sorry about that. I'm getting a little bit of a lag from the the Teams right now. Let me see if I can clean some of that up. Get that refreshed. And we only have a few more minutes here, and then I can wrap up and we can do Q&A. So back over to this session I had here. Let me start the live session again. And now go ahead and hit, there we go. There's my playback. So during that playback, if someone else was to join me in this session, they can't do the full annotation, but they can draw on the screen and allow that to kind of outline, if you will, that there's something they're pointing out while we're on the con call. So we're watching this content together live. Even while it's playing, they can draw on the screen, okay? And they'll dissipate away. They could actually draw, write something, point at something where they want to. And again, if anyone else joins me in that session, like if Mark's able to get in there, then he would be seeing exactly what I'm seeing. Or if he took control, I'd be synchronized playback, watching what he's playing for me. So he's pointing something out that I need to be aware of around our review, okay? So that's a very powerful feature and very handy, and all within a web browser without having to have anything installed, without you having to upload a spec format like other products in the market force you to do. So Daly's reviewed products that make you force you to upload a certain spec format, you don't have to do that with us. We are fairly format agnostic. We even allow for Sony RAW to be uploaded, and we'll proxy from that. So just Sony RAW and Sony XOCN RAW. So all of those things are allowed. We support many of the different professional formats out there. Again, unlike a lot of other products in the marketplace that do not support those formats, and once you uniquely have to transcode something locally before you can actually upload that content. So last thing to show here is the ability that once you have content in here, what do you want to do with it long term? Perhaps you want to archive that content. So I have an archive button here, and I can push something down to archive. I can do that with a standard archive, which takes 3 to 36 hours to push down to archive. Then you can do a restore of that with 3 to 6 hours, or an expedited restore in 5 to 10 minutes. I can also push it down to deep archive. And why are these archives significant? Well, you keep all the preview proxies and functionality, such as the work sessions or sharing content out, available. The only thing not available while it's archived is the source file, and the ability for you to render something out, such as a transcode or sending something to a workspace. So about 75 to 80% of the functionality is available to you. And so that's really important. And that also means that you're pushing the storage down from an active storage cost of $22 per terabyte per month to $4 per terabyte per month for standard archive and 99 cents per terabyte per month for deep archive. These are all AWS based prices that we pass through. We do not mark them up. They are a cost that we get and we pass through. There's no point in marking up a storage cost. Our upload and download volumes are where there are additional charges, and that's how we based on our subscription plans, based on all content volume. It's unlimited users, unlimited workspaces, unlimited work sessions, unlimited media boxes. All of those things are unlimited. It's all based on how much content volume you do upload, how much you do download, and how much do you store as an aggregate on a monthly basis, okay? I'll send that to archive. You can restore that whenever you want to as well. We denote that it's archiving right now. We give you actual status on that to let you know that that's what's happening. And all of that is bubbled up and available to you. You can also restore, and you can do 2 options on restore. You can restore to full active. You can also restore to temporary for 2 days, and we'll automatically push it back down to archive for you. Because why do you want to restore? Because you more than likely need the source file. So you have a couple of days to be able to pull the source file down, share the source file out. You have all that feature functionality, and we're going to take care of you not having to worry about having to remember to push it back down to archive again. We're going to do that for you. We also offer storage management policies for you to automate the push down to archive, deep archive, trash, and then also auto delete. So all of those things are robust qualities that we offer as well. I've gone over a very large amount of detail in a fairly short amount of time. Why don't we pause here and open it up for any questions you all might have that I'm happy to answer. And if Mark and team haven't provided it before, they can also provide you my direct contact information if you want to double back with us and see if you want to have a further dialogue. We are offering a free 30-day trial for a base company network subscription. That is normally $1,000 a month. That's a terabyte of upload a month, terabyte of download a month, and a terabyte of active storage. If during the trial you go beyond those, then we would just want to talk to you about how you would be able to pay for the overages on those things. But that is a free trial account. We're happy to set up, walk you through it initially, and get you the access so you can, play with it, see how it works, maybe test with cameras if you've got Sony cameras, all that kind of good stuff.
Michael, can you go up to the Q&A session there? Can you see that on your browser? As part of the team session, it's up in the top right hand.
I think I see it over here. Yes.
Okay, so on there, we have a couple of questions, and I'd like to get to them now.
Yep.
I tried answering a couple, but very few, so I apologize about that to everybody.
So let me start from the top here. That means different. Does your archive extend time-wise beyond the end of a production delivery timeline? Yes. The archive is of the source file, and it is for however long you want it to be archived. We encrypt all of our content, and we are using SHA, and we do 256-bit AES encryption for our files. We do checksums, and our checksum is an SHA-2, and the content is fully redundant, is absolutely safe, and is absolutely accessible and restorable whenever you want forever. So just a note on that. Is it cloud? So great question. Right now we are launching out our catalog, which will allow folder-based permissions and roles. We're also going to be launching out our Bring Your Own S3, our Bring Your Own storage. That'll be launching next month into July. After that, we'll be allowing other clouds to be used for storage, and then what's called Bring Your Own S3 adapter. So what that means is that we have in Sony a media asset management system called Navigator X. Navigator X is an on-prem install, orchestration layer, and integration into all of your repositories. It integrates with C to upload, to download automatically from C. It'll even pull our proxies, so you don't have to generate proxies local, but it can automate workflows. It can build workflow automation. We integrate with Navigator X, but we also will integrate with on-prem storage as long as it has an S3 adapter. So that's something we will be rolling out. So that's a great question. And so to your non-AWS storage, if you have a local with an S3 protocol adapter, later in the year, we will be supporting that. Yes, hybrid solutions are being worked on, to your question, Mark. So that's something already available with Navigator X, and also can be available with other products out there in the market, such as a Delete with a IBM Orchestrator, who's built an integration with us, and other products out there who might have already integrated with us, like Snapstream or other use of our APIs, where you could build your own automation integrations as well. You can import, export an Avid EDL from our rough cut. You can import, export Avid comment markers, such as in video review. So that's another feature that is there. Yes, so that hopefully answers a bunch of your questions. Any more that you'd like to throw out there, if you'd want to, in the chat window there, in the Q&A window, or any that anybody wants to verbally ask. And again, feel free to please reach out to Mark and team. They know how to get a hold of me. They have my contact information. If that's not readily available to you, absolutely happy to get on ad hoc sessions and go through things and go through questions you've got in more detail. Since we're running a little bit short on time right now, sorry about that, Mark, for running a little bit long there. But as you can see, there's a lot to cover in a very short amount of time. Try to be as efficient as I could there. Cool.
Now, we are recording this. We will put it up. Probably it will be on the YouTube page. Tom and I will work on getting that up there. Any other questions, feel free to email us. Michael, thank you for your time today. I really, really appreciate it. I did jump on there with you to go live, but I think it was after you had already started everything.
Okay.
So, again, I apologize. I'm a satellite connection. I switched over to a mobile hotspot. It's a little better. So it's a little rough for me to sometimes here.
Excellent, excellent. No problem at all, Mark. Thank you for the time, and thank you everyone for making the time to be on today. Really appreciate it, and looking forward to kind of doubling back with any of you who want to get into more detail.
Okay, and I want to thank you all for viewing today's webinar and learning more about Sony Ci. And Michael, thank you for spending the time with us to teach us about it and answering all of the questions. While we as SMPTE can't hold live in-person events, we plan to continue holding more of these webinars, providing information on the different resources available as broadcasting evolves, as we become more of an IP network, as we go cloud-based, and more of off-prem versus on-prem. Next week, we have 3 more webinars planned. Tuesday at 1 p.m., Canon is presenting what they call a tale of 3 formats, discussing 3 different digital imaging formats used in broadcasting today. On Wednesday at 1 p.m., Grass Valley, they're going to present on their GV Alive platform, integrating IP, cloud, on-prem, and off-prem, and also their GV gaming and polling application to create a more immersive viewer audience. On Thursday at 1 p.m., Sony will be presenting again, but this time it'll be on the newer FX9 camera, all of its capabilities and its workflows. We plan a couple of future webinars, one from Evertz and one from the SRT Alliance. Look forward to them. They'll be coming up in the next few weeks. Any questions on today's presentation, this webinar on Sony Ci, feel free to send us an email at comments@phyllisempty.org, as we normally do. If you have any comments or suggestions for future presentations, please let us know. Again, send it to comments@phyllisempty.org. Let us know what you want to learn about, and let us help present, webinars that you're interested in. So I want to thank you all again for coming and viewing, and have a great afternoon. Stay safe, stay healthy, and I'll see you all next Tuesday at 1 p.m. Okay, guys, thank you very much. I ended it, I think. Yep. There we go. It didn't take the click the first time, so thank you very much.